You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
I am Clint, and we got friends with us today. By friends, I mean friend. This is John from John Tweets Sport. John, say hi to the people for us.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here with you fine folks on this wonderful day in December.
That's so right. We got a special day planned. We're going to talk about recruiting, but before we get there, today's episode is brought to you by Netsuite. Netsuite is everything your business needs. We'll tell you more about them in a moment. But today's a very special podcast because we get to wrap up. I know many of you were on yesterday listening and watching us and bemoaning the fact that we weren't talking about recruiting. We told you we were going to get together. We tried. It didn't work. So today is that day and tomorrow. We're going to break it up into 2 episodes. If you join us on YouTube or on the audio side, glad that you're with us. Locked On Bulldogs, for fans, by fans. We're going to talk about the fan reaction to this recruiting class, this number 3 recruiting class as it stands today, according to 24/7 composites, usually around that as well, 2 or 3, depending on what service you're using. But we're going to break it down. Today is the defensive side. Daniel, is that correct?
That's right. We're going to talk about defense today. We're going to talk about offense tomorrow. And so if you're looking for your Gunnar Stockton, Oscar Delp, Branson Robinson fix, we will be here. We will be here tomorrow. All 3 of us coming back. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. So 2-parter. But today is the defense. I want to start with maybe some big picture thoughts, though, on the recruiting class. Y'all can agree or disagree. I think the big picture thought is this, fellas. Georgia's going to be good at football for a little while longer. I think that's the takeaway that I'm working with primarily in looking at this recruiting class. The question for Georgia athletics moving forward is going to continue to be, will we be the champion or the runner-up in whatever championship game we are playing in? And look, Georgia fans, that's been a difficult question for us as of late. Other fan bases like to mock us for not being able to get over the hump. But let's just be real. Texas A&M ain't played for a championship in 70-some years. These are not things that these schools are familiar with at all. And yet Georgia is out here perennially stacking this talent. And we're going to be very good at football for a very long time, fellas.
Could not agree more. Texas A&M, I'm very happy for their fan base. Maybe Jimbo Fisher can find a way to finish higher than 3rd or 4th in the division with all that talent that he's stacking there.
It's impossible to say.
You know, Kirby Smart has said in very different variations that you got to have players to win, and Georgia got some players, guys, on the defensive side of the ball, especially got some players in this recruiting class for sure.
It's really important to keep our frame of reference. Now, other fan, if you're here because you're gonna troll for having number 1 Texas A&M or number 2 Bama, like that's fine. I don't really mind so much. Here's the thing that you have to understand about the broad scope of college athletics, college football, recruitment, foundation, all of these things. This is how you make that perennial powerhouse program every single time. You get players in a pipeline. You get expectancy with that. You get the right coaches. Look at Dan Lanning going out. Dan Lanning, we replace shoes right there. Like you stock all the way back. And we're not talking depth like too deep. We talk planning ahead, forecasting ahead, years and years down the road. Go look at all the programs. It took them years and years and years to make it to this level that we're already at. And we do have that hump. It's a hump we got to get over. Like, I'm not making excuses. I'm not even trying to dismiss it. But this is the exact recipe. There's no other recipe. Like, y'all, there is no other recipe than getting elite coaches and elite talent and giving yourself a chance every single year to be there. And that's what we're doing. Literally.
And And listen, it's why there's only 2 teams that have a chance to win the national championship this year. There's 4 teams left. There's only 2 of them that have a chance to win the national championship this year. Sorry, not sorry. Their names are Georgia and Alabama. Those are the only 2 teams that have a shot. Michigan might beat Georgia. That's whatever. But they're not beating Alabama. They're not winning a national championship because you have to have this elite talent. Michigan has been recruiting better as of late, but not doing it. And this is the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. So before we get into these defensive players, which, John, I'm going to start asking you for names in a second, but we should mention, Clint, as the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, we should update the people. Florida does check in at 50th overall in the 20.
We said we were going to do this every day.
They're sitting at 50th overall. Like, I could start reading the names of some teams that are ahead of them, like Oregon State and Northwestern and Illinois. These are teams that have recruited better than the University of Florida. So, just Georgia fan, just soak it all in. It's great.
But Florida did get that one recruit that decommitted to recommit, and therefore stole this recruit.
Winning.
I will not name. I won't name him, but stole him back from Kirby Smart and Nick Saban.
Just
and Jimbo Fisher.
Killed us.
Yeah, killed us. That one guy.
Illinois is 5 spots ahead of you. Illinois. Okay, so now, John, we're talking about defensive players, and there's a million that we could go to. There are 5, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite, there are 5 five-star defensive players who are signed, inked on the dotted line, ready to come to Athens. That's 5 five-star defensive players. So, John, where do you want to start? Who's the name that's the most exciting to you? That's the first question.
That's an impossible question with those guys. But what I will say, I'll tell you,
minutes. So let's go.
Yeah, 23 more minutes. I'll tell you. So I'll start with the one that I am thrilled that Georgia was able to bag is Jahim Singletary. So Singletary was committed to Ohio State. He's a 5-star corner. Depending on where you're looking, he's he's in the top 5 of corners in the country. I think Jahim was one that decommitted from Ohio State, and our boy Will Muschamp with Jamil Adai.
I'm sorry,
but Will Muschamp put in the work on Singletary. It's documented on the Twitters and other places of Will Muschamp like putting in the work to get Jahim. And I think, if you look at what Adai has done with this secondary class and you layer it on with Muschamp being the closer of being able to go and get these guys and understand the eye for talent, Singletary has got to be one that I'm probably most excited about, mostly because, it's to get a decommit from Ohio State, somebody who's from Jacksonville, Florida, to find their way to the University of Georgia as a 5-star cornerback is just that's what you want, right? Like, you want guys who were going to a blue blood, who changed their mind, whether it was because you swooped in or whether it's you swoop in after they change their mind, and you get them on campus and you close them. So he's great. Marvin Jones Jr. I think is going to be like a generational.
That's my guy.
Edge rusher. Marvin Jones
That's my
Jr.
guy right
is unreal. And I'll let you talk about him if you want. But yeah, for me, it's Singletary. I think, the most gifted of the 5 stars is probably Malachi Starks. I think that guy can play like wherever you put him on the field, kind of in the mold of a Champ Bailey, or maybe even a Hines Ward kind of guy.
Yep.
I'm telling you guys, I'm throwing names. No, hey, I'm throwing Hall of Fame names out there.
Listen, he didn't come out.
I actually needed Malachi Starks. This talk, I needed it after losing a couple safeties because of what I said on this pod a couple days ago. I need a safety back here. And I think that now that I look at it, now that I understand, I think you're not far off, John. And I'm glad you're getting me hyped. I'm glad the ladder is coming.
So
now we're talking.
Yeah. So for me, I think, as you're seeing a theme, every guy I'm excited about for different reasons. and it's just impossible to order them. But that's my initial just kind of gut reaction of what I'm excited about.
Love it. We're going to come back after this and get more reaction out of this recruitment class. But first, this is it, the putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software to see the full picture. You need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. John, are you or are you not the CEO of NetSuite? We have a bet going.
It's a theory we're workshopping.
Not yet, guys, but I'm trying to find my way in there.
Working his way up. Okay.
We're talking. NetSuite is
you heard it here first. Vice President of NetSuite, John from John Tweet Sports. He's the vice president of NetSuite.
Yes.
With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. You can automate processes and close your books in no time while staying well ahead. 93% of surveyed businesses increase visibility after upgrading. Over 27,000 businesses already use NetSuite. And right now, through the end of the year, NetSuite is offering one-of-a-kind financing program to those who are ready to upgrade it. netsuite.com/lockedonncaa. Head to netsuite.com/lockedonncaa for special end-of-the-year financing on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/lockedonncaa.
It's not just Singletary. He's not the only 5-star defensive back we signed.
No,
it's
sir.
not just Malachi Starks. They're not the only 2 5-star defensive backs that we signed in this class. You come on out with Dalen Everett, another 5-star corner, another kid from down in Florida, IMG Academy, which is the University of Georgia Jr. is what we call it down there. And all of a sudden, Clint, go ahead.
You got Julian Humphrey in on that too? Like,
oh yeah,
talking
no
defense.
The corners just keep coming.
Backs.
Oh yeah,
they just keep coming. And here's the thing that I'm so excited about this defense. Here's the big picture that I didn't get to in first segment.
Yeah.
There are 2 positions that the defense said, you know what, we're going to go get. We're going to get guys that can cover on islands, and then we're going to get guys who can scream off the edge, and to hell with everything else. I don't care. We're going to go get guys on the back end that we could say, hey, 5 DBs, y'all good covering receivers?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Because you're not getting any help. Because all these blazing fast mad cats are going to be going that way against the quarterback. Malachi Starks, to me, is the key to this. I was thinking about this a little bit more today as news broke, the safeties decommitting or not signing, going elsewhere. And I thought to myself, I need somebody on the back end that's beyond athletic, that is smart, that is savvy. I need the whole combination because I'm sick of getting beat in coverage time after time after time again. And I did go look at Malachi Starks. Do you know what he played a whole lot of on the other side of the ball? A great deal in high school,
that?
y'all. He played quarterback a great deal. I don't know if you understand what that means as a defensive back, as you understand the nature of playing quarterback and safety and athleticism all the way across. This kid is smart. He can see the field. He was one of the first ones to sign. He just came out here and again, guys, he's #1 in his position, #1 athlete, right? No hubbubaloo, just like signed and said, "Let's go ball." I'm fine. This cat might become my absolute all-star favorite from this class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we mention too that that was a great rundown on Starks? Did we mention that Georgia pulled Dalen Everett from the clutches of Dabo Sweeney and the collapsing Clemson recruiting class?
I'm sorry. Let's just take a moment there, if we could, John. Let's just sit there for a second. Talk to us about what's happening over there in South Carolina these days.
So a couple of schools have lost their their coordinators to head coaching jobs. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what has happened with those schools, but Clemson is a great example where they lost their defensive coordinator to a head coaching job in Oklahoma at Oklahoma, and their recruiting class imploded on them. Guys,
it's almost as if that guy that left was the guy that was doing all the work. John, is that what I'm? So if I'm in a group project and and homeboy in the group project all of a sudden is sick with mono, and he's out of the group. And now nobody has any idea what's going on. That's a pretty good indicator that guy or gal is the one that was really carrying all the weight.
This sounds like a really specific story to you, Daniel. Just so you know, right now, the mono.
I'm not going to name names. But I think we all know who I'm talking about.
It's almost also, guys, I will say this. It's almost like the man who is left is the guy that has been complaining about athletes getting NIL and being able to transfer and being able to make choices for themselves. That's the guy that's left. And so the players around that were coming were obviously not coming for that guy. And he's the one standing. I try to put this back together. But
he's the last guy there.
Yeah. But I don't think we can overstate like how big it is for Georgia to put together this secondary class. We saw, I mean, you guys, we saw it as Georgia fans, what happened in the offseason. We had to go to the portal and get Darian Kendrick, who has played well for Georgia this year. But having to piece together that secondary and they've played for the most part up until the last outing have played better than expected, but to build that depth back up on the bench so quickly in one class is just fantastic. And now, Georgia signed 26 players. They have a few spots to go out into the portal if they need to. They can get up to, I think, 31 or 32 probably this class. And so it's setting up really nicely on that side of the ball to be really strong. Which is not surprising. I mean, you got Muschamp, you got Adai, you got Kirby Smart, you got Trey Scott, you got some guys who can
just imagine all the reason why these five stars, these five stars, walk into a room with those guys you just mentioned and talk shop football with. And of course,
and let's give Kirby Smart his due. Dan Lanning took a job as a as a head coach. Georgia lost their defensive coordinator.
Right.
And the class did not implode. They were able to actually continue to pull in a very, very talented group of guys.
What do you know? It's almost as if Kirby is the straw that's stirring this drink and not just any of the coordinators. Now listen, to that point, John, on the defensive secondary, and I think that's a great point, that you see a guy like Lavassier Carroll, and no slight to Lavassier Carroll, because I mean, kudos to the kid, and he did an admirable job, but like when you're moving running backs in the spring to play corner in the SEC, you have a problem at corner. That's what we're saying, and it's not injuries, and it's not guys missing time. Like there's a problem at corner. And now you not only have some young talent like Keely Ringo, who's going to come back next year as a veteran in this secondary. You got Nyland Green, who spent all year learning the system, learning the playbook. You remember how excited we were about this kid? That's another 5-star kid coming back next year into the system.
Don't sleep on Kamari Lassiter.
Kamari Lassiter showed a lot of flashes this year and seems like he's going to be a factor at star or some other position somewhere.
Yep.
And now you got all this influx of 5-star talented, 4 or 5-star talented defensive backs. It becomes all of a sudden a position of incredible strength for this UGA defense. And you add to it some of the guys on the edge that Clint was talking about earlier, and you've got a real situation on the defense. So I want to talk about some of those defensive linemen that we haven't talked about. I want to talk about maybe these linebackers. Georgia signed a couple of linebackers in this class. John, I want your thoughts on them. Let's do all that, Clint, after we talk about this.
That's right. You listen to podcasts for the power of knowledge. You switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money. Because with Boost, you get the power of free 5G phones so you can listen to all the latest episodes of Locked On Bulldogs. The power of 3 unlimited data lines for $30 a month per line so you and your family can harness all that brain power too. And all the power of of America's largest 5G networks, so you can do all of it at the speed of 5G. With all that money you'll save and that knowledge you'll gain, just how powerful you become, switch to Boost Mobile and find out. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A32 5G when you switch to one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save. Boost Mobile. Disclaimer. Free phone limited to new customers and one per line. Additional restrictions apply. Offer coverage not available everywhere or for all phones networks. See boostmobile.com for details.
Also want to let you know about BetOnline, your online sportsbook expert. They are the place that Clint and I have been telling you about for a long time, that we go to place all of our wagers. And yet, some of you still have not been. You still have not signed up for an account. You still have not taken advantage of the offer that they are giving. And so one more time, we are going to let you know that if you go to betonline.ag right now and you enter the promo code LOCKEDON, you will get a 50% bonus on your initial deposit. That's 50% added on top to whatever you deposit. You deposit $100, $200, whatever. They are going to give you a 50% match right on top, which means you have more money with which to bet on the NBA. You have more money to bet on the NFL. You have more money to bet on college bowl games, the most wonderful time of the year. Bowl games start tomorrow, the Bahamas Bowl. Get your money in. John, you got to pick for the Bahamas Bowl. Go.
Who's playing in the Bahamas Bowl?
Toledo.
Haven't got my picks in, guys. Who?
Toledo, Middle Tennessee.
Oh, my
Toledo,
gosh.
Middle Tennessee.
Give me, what's the line? I'm sorry.
I believe it is, last I checked, I believe Toledo's favored by a handful. I can't remember.
Give me Middle Tennessee to cover.
Dogs in bowl games all day. Dogs in bowl games all day.
Absolutely. I don't think they'll win it outright, but they'll cover.
All right, you heard it here. John is ridiculously confident that if you go to betonline.ag right now and bet your life savings on Middle Tennessee to cover whatever spread it is, he doesn't even know.
Legal analysis says no. Don't do that. Okay, next, continue.
betonline.ag, your online sportsbook expert. Enter the promo code Locked On right now for 50% bonus. All right.
You said something about linebackers and defensive line, Daniel.
Yeah. So, I said on Tuesday's show, Clint, that if I could take one guy, if I could guarantee the signing of one guy on signing day, then it would be Marvin Jones. And lo and behold, the FSU legacy, the Florida native, he looked Mike Norvell in the eye and he said, hard pass.
No,
I will be headed up north to be clear, he did not even look towards Gainesville. Did not even glance that direction towards Gainesville on his way up the road to Athens. No. Marvin Jones Jr. is a problem coming around the corner. Sure. He is a problem coming off the edge. He is a true pass rusher. He is physical. He is fast. He's got skill and talent. He's got moves, and he's just got raw athleticism. That's a dangerous combination for a kid who's coming out of high school and ready potentially to step into the SEC and make an impact early in his career. John, do you think that we could see Marvin Jones Jr. make an impact for the Georgia Bulldogs next year? That's my question to you.
I do. I mean, he has all the physical traits that you would want in a true edge rusher. So he's 6'5", he's 245. He'll add a few pounds in the offseason in the Georgia weight program. But if you watch him, like I went back, I was watching him earlier today, and his ability, like the dip and rip move is what they call it. His ability to have a move like that, essentially as mastered as it can be coming out of high school, is just incredible. Like, he's obviously got to he'll develop his full like toolkit when it comes to pass rushing. But man, he's strong, he's lean, or long, I guess is maybe the better way to say that. And so yeah, I think he can make. I think he's the one of those guys that's an immediate impact player. If you look at him from the evaluations, it's already. There's no reason why the guy couldn't be a first round edge rusher 3-4 years from now, coming out of this Georgia system. So I would expect him to contribute a lot at Georgia next year.
Yeah, and you combine that too, which you didn't even mention, but I'll mention for you with just position of need. I mean, really, you got Robert Beal going to be moving on. Obviously, Adam Anderson not going to be connected to this program ever again.
Yep.
And so you got MJ Sherman, and you got, I mean, you got this guy. Like this could be a rotation that you're looking at right there with two very young, very green edge guys. You got
Chaz Chambliss in there in the mix, but you're when you look at comparison of who is coming off the bench, you're right. Thanks for the assist on that one. I think the depth is not there. You don't have guys that are lining up to take that spot at the moment. So he's gonna have as good a chance as anybody.
All right, John, talk to us about these two linebackers, because I mean, I want to ask you about Big Bear because that's the guy that I think most excited about in this class. But we might have to. I want to put him kind of on the back burner because I think two guys that are not being talked about in this defensive class are the two linebackers. You got Jalen Walker out of North Carolina, and then you got C.J. Washington, the Cedartown prospect. Talk to us about these guys. What excites you about them? What do you like? What do you see?
So C.J. Washington, I actually got a chance to see C.J. Washington in person.
There it is. Insider intel.
There you go. That kid, what was more impressive, so his athleticism in general. So when I saw him, I think he rushed for about 200 yards in a game playing running back. He averaged like 10 yards per carry as a running back.
I'm sorry, does Cedartown have a history of putting out running backs? I can't remember.
Yes.
It's hard to say.
A little guy named little man named Nick Chubb from Cedartown, Georgia. But this kid, his athleticism is just through the roof. And so when you look at guys that have played the linebacker position at Georgia, Nakobe Dean, Roquan Smith, what these guys have been more than, more than their technique, which has been elite under the coaching of Glenn Schumann and the defensive staff, their athleticism has been very clear. Their ability to cover guys, their ability to get to the quarterback, their ability to be both strong and fast. And that's what you're getting in C.J. Washington. I mean, that kid, I'm really excited from seeing him in person. I'm really excited to see him at Georgia. He's going to have to, put on a few pounds. I think he's around 210, 215. And so he'll bulk up a little bit, but he is straight up athlete. And he's all the things that you would want in a linebacker.
The man, they put him on the edge with his hand on the ground a few times. Oh, yeah. He plays basketball. He plays track. He ran 11.3 in the 100-yard meter. Talk about athletic and talk about wanting to rush around. This is all the things that you look for in a prototypical linebacker.
Yep. So you take that, and then you take Jalen Walker, and he may be even better. he's built in the same mold. Walker's a little bit bigger, so he's got a couple inches, I think, on Cedric. On CJ Washington. But man, both of these guys, they are athletic. They are physical. As high school linebackers, they will certainly, they've taken on linemen. You can see it on their tape. They are fast and physical. And what I love about kind of where offense has has gotten to in college football is these are guys that they're not going to get beat in coverage on a tight end, right? But they're also going to get to the quarterback. They're also going to stop the run. Like they are built to play in this system, both from size, but most importantly, just pure athleticism. Just there's some dogs. So Georgia fans should be really excited about these two guys. If you look at the mold of a Roquan Smith, a Nakobe Dean. That's what you got with these two guys coming up. Yeah, yeah. I think you also have a little bit of C.J. Washington, a little bit of Channing Tindall thrown in there with some speed.
I was waiting for that comp.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one you're looking for. They will get beat in coverage if they're going against one tight end in particular, but they won't ever have to go up against that tight end in particular because that's why you sign with Georgia, folks. So you don't ever have to cover Brock Bowers. Just period. That's the recruiting pitch to linebackers. Like you cover somewhere else.
What they tell them is you're going to cover Brock Bowers in practice, so therefore you will cover the best tight end in the country every single day. No one will beat you,
regardless of level of football in the country.
No one will beat you after a week of trying to cover Brock Bowers.
Listen, because we're out of time. Tomorrow we're coming back talking about the offense, but. Final note on Big Bear. Do you all remember there was a time, and it was right after Aubrey Solomon signed with Michigan. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this? I'm taking the Wayback Machine. Okay, I don't know what year was that. What year was that? That was 2015, something like that. 16, maybe. I don't know. And I remember thinking to myself, will Georgia ever sign a big name defensive tackle? Like, will we ever be able to acquire? I only say that to say that this man, Jordan Davis, is going to be doing things for the Georgia football program long after he's gone. You understand? Like, long after he's gone, Jordan Davis is still making an impact because there's one reason and one reason alone that this man, Alexander, is coming to Athens, and he wears number 99, and his name is Jordan Davis. This type of, when you get the notoriety and you finish 9th in the Heisman voting as a defensive tackle, when you get that kind of publicity and people start to see the system, listen, there's a reason that all these 5-star defensive players want to come play football in Athens because you get the spotlight shined on you when you come here. This is it. This is defensive football at the highest level. And these guys want to win championships, yes, but they also want to play in the league. And check back with me, and the NFL draft time rolls around, and how many of these Georgia defensive players are about to get their names called, because it's going to be a lot of them.
And wait till you hear 3 years from now, when you've had Jalen Carter and Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis, and and that's just the defensive line. We're about to start stacking them up. Yeah, about to start stacking them up, guys. It's going to be great.
Yeah, this starting defense right now has got 10 players that'll be drafted in the NFL. Of the 11, 10 of them will be drafted in the NFL. As a lot, that's a lock. It's a lock.
Yeah. We won't tell you who the 11th is. You'll have to check.
I'm not going to say.
Well, I'm just saying the one that won't be drafted should be drafted over another one that will be drafted. I'll just leave it right there. I'll leave it right there.
Yes. Okay. And he plays safety.
Yeah. Okay. We're coming back tomorrow. Locked On Bulldogs podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We're talking about the offense. We only got halfway through, y'all. We got Gunnar Stockton, we got Oscar Delp, we got Branson Robinson, we got a whole plethora of wide receivers. We're going to talk about if there are any deficiencies in this class. We're going to get to all of that and more tomorrow. Join us then. Leave us a comment down below. Subscribe. Leave us a rating and review on the audio side, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
See ya.